Whoop. Hey guys, this is a video tailored to all my friends growing up. I realized the truth, and I love you guys a lot, and I feel so much love now that I finally feel like close to you guys in a way that I never was before, because I didn't know you guys were hiding stuff, and and I hope you guys feel the same towards me, because I feel like I can finally accept you guys and love you in a way that you guys never had before. And I completely understand, and I just want you guys to feel warm. And that's the first thing I want to say. The next thing I want to say is there are things about me that you guys probably don't know. So the reason why you guys were surrounded with me the way you were is that both my parents are CIA agents. They have one of those, like, pretty much like an old-fashioned Neuralink thing. Really brutal stuff. The Nazis initially made it to make like a super soldier, and so they had this program where they were able to make someone walk for days straight until they died. And my parents have a version of this, basically, that if they go off track and start to expose secrets, it gives them a little zap to the point where they even would go unconscious if they tried to talk about this sort of thing. But every place that I've lived, I mean, you guys know this, from Boise to Lockhart to Northwest Ohio, has a lot of CIA activity, whether it be in Boise where they develop the chips for the latest military hardware and what I just described, or Northwest Ohio where they do a lot of psychological experiments, MKUltra, Bowling Green University. I don't know a lot about it, but I know that's where they did the research to unlock all the main emotional systems of the brain and understand a lot of stuff that takes a lot of very unpleasant to watch research, you could say. And I also know that Bowling Green also punches way above its weight as far as research, which is interesting. And this is all, again, very close to the area where they did a lot of psychological research. I'm getting the name of the Air Force Base, and where all the Nazis came from Operation Paperclip. I'm actually half Nazi. Fun fact. I don't want to be mean. I love my family, and I love, you can't be blamed for your past like that. But yeah, so that's kind of partly the origin of my family. On my mom's side, also agents as well. So the CIA had a program where they went in and found talented black folk from different places and brought them in. My mom's family was part of that. I'm not sure where exactly it started, but it surely was both my grandparents. My grandfather, on my mom's side, my black side, was a football player. The only black player chosen to play at Ohio State back when they only did one black player a year. Now, this is not in the history books at all, because this was family lore that I guess has actually been scrubbed from public knowledge. He does have a plaque at BG and everything like that. And my grandmother was a linguistics professor, which you need if you need to train spies for teaching different dialects and whatnot. And so that's how my grandparents on both sides of my parents basically kind of played a role in why my parents came together. Being the family of agents, they were selected for essentially a super soldier program for their kids to be experimented on with the German ability of being really intelligent, being really engineering-minded, mixed with the black intuition of black folks in my black family. And they were interested in seeing what kind of things they could create. Surprise! That's me! So all of my siblings have a number of experience. My oldest sister, Tara, is like my parents. She's an agent. She knows she's an agent. So our family is weirdly split off in a strange way. My sister, Alex, I'm not really sure. My brother, Carl, has no memories up to the age of 7. And he seems to have superhuman strength and is built incredibly. And like anyone who knows him, he's literally like unbreakable as far as like his grip strength. I've never seen someone with a grip strength like that. That is crazy. I was like, why is he so much higher than fucking like Joe Rogan or whatever? Like, that's a little weird. And like, was an amazing football player. Then, and like how my grandfather was scrubbed from the records, so was my brother in a way. He really should have went like D1 football, but basically he was screwed by his coaches. My dad and the coaches made up some cover story about like, they were just in it for themselves and didn't care about the students and just kind of let them go afterwards. But my brother deserves to be, would be up there, because he's actually amazing. And he doesn't realize it, partly because of, that doesn't mean me being real, this is me telling the truth. You guys were here to neutralize us. basically. The reason why we grew up in these neighborhoods, and by the way, for people who don't know, these locations that I'm talking about, how the CIA keeps its secrets is basically by creating communities of where everyone is either in on it with the wire or they're in on it with some sort of blackmail. They're usually on a lot of Adderall, so these are oftentimes around universities. They're on a lot of Adderall. Am I talking too loud for this? No, it's okay. They'll be on a lot of Adderall, and that keeps them focused. It's a type of amphetamine. I'm not sure it's Adderall. It's actually probably a very specific version, and the Adderall being distributed around society is basically a cover for it. It allows you to lie under pressure. There's always rumors about my parents having amphetamines, and frankly, there's a lot of rumors around my family that were really mysterious that they just said to leave in the past that I now understand were cover stories for all the actual insanity that was going on in my life. Because like I said, my dad was a CIA agent, and so that meant him moving a lot around the country and doing a lot of sort of things. Let me just make sure we're still recording over here. Yes, we are. We are good. So these entire areas in the CIA and whatnot, and how they bring in more informants, it's held together by bringing in families through usually blackmail. That's how I know most of the people here, and that's why I know I'm sorry for you guys. And blackmail, not in the sense of just blackmail, but blackmail as far as immigration goes too. So a lot of Filipino people here were brought over here, and they were told that, if you lie, we're going to send you back, And that's partly what the new immigration issues that's been happening as of late. They're letting in massive amounts of people from Venezuelan prisons, which, by the way, the U.S. government runs Venezuela, and just places around the world who are criminals and things like that. And that allows them to control and have a bunch of new informants, because people were realizing that, they're all Filipino and white people. Well, now they have a fresh new batch of different immigrants of all different shapes and sizes and colors to blend in society, and it'll be much more powerful. So California was actually a test case for this. I used to live in LA, and the CIA was basically out there, and kind of jump into something, I realized that the CIA was doing a lot of operations on the interwebs. You know what? Actually, I should completely explain to my family. The reason why I knew this is because I'm a psychic, which is something I didn't even believe in for most of my life, and I think I was actually conditioned to not even believe in such things as being nonsense. And it took me a long time to break out of my very materialistic understanding of the world, my very German engineering understanding of the world, to see that that's even possible. And probably actually took some concrete studies. First having some mind-opening experiences, but then actually seeing some concrete studies as well that show very mysterious things like in quantum mechanics, and that kind of opened my brain to things like astrology. And, apparently the Nazis and the CIA have been interested in astrology for a long time, because they have been using predicting the stars to create soldiers of different powers, like the astral projection stuff and all that. That's all real. So me and my brother were both born in the minute when Saturn was perfectly, or 10 minutes, when Saturn was in retrograde. And what that does, for reasons that are complicated, I won't get into because I don't completely understand them, although I kind of do. It's basically that, because Saturn's moving backwards in the sky, it's like your body becomes more intuitive, because it says everything's perfect here, but I know it needs to make sense. And so it basically jumps through quantum conclusions better. There are some drawbacks I don't completely understand quite, but that actually fits into the whole morphology of my whole body. The reason why I have a long neck, the reason why I have longer other appendages that are good for sentencing, I guess. I think that's why it seems like. It's all about intuitive. Me and Kurt are both psychic twins, and the reason why you were guys through here is because we would just have discovered the truth about my parents, if not for a lot of neutralizing from y'all. And so this started to hit me pretty heavy. By the way, that's why they made Kurt go insane with acid, and then put him on antipsychotics. And by the way, when he went on insane on acid, he saw everything that I'm explaining right now, but because he just assumed that it was because he went crazy on acid. Because acid makes you feel like you're psychotic. Acid is a form of psychosis. Acid is the spiritual weapon utilized that after discovering the power of the mycelium network of psilocybin and all of that, because that stuff is not normal. I'll tell you that. It's very powerful. I'm not going to, maybe I'll say that for another time, But they basically used that technology to create acid to dispel the hippies, because they recognized that the hippies could avoid with their shrooms were beating their forms of crazy psychological attrition in mind control, and this is a way of stepping outside and keeping sane during their attacks, and which I've been subject to almost constantly for about 3 years. It's taken me a long time to actually break out of it. And I'm actually convinced that part of it was taking a little bit of psilocybin. We'll save that for another time, because I don't want to. You shouldn't go around and take drugs. Don't do it. It's dangerous. I don't want to promote that. It's an idea. But so, anyways, because me and Kurt are psychic twins, we had a lot of people around us to neutralize us. I was watching a podcast and realized that the person on the episode was a government agent. And then I realized that if he's a government agent, so is this person, and obviously this person, obviously this person, obviously this person, obviously this person on the internet. And I went to go investigate in person, and all of a sudden I was being chased by cartel members, I was being psyoped by all my coworkers, and I realized that, oh my gosh, like all of these people and a lot of immigrants are CIA agents or agents of the state in some sort. And then, you make the connection that, they're bringing people over. That's partly the reason why. Now, there's another reason why that's actually a lot darker, and it actually has to do with the testing and the bioweapons operations that they have been doing in places like Wuhan. The CIA has been interested in bioweapons for a very long time, and it's because that they want a more manageable world. They have, because of Operation Paperclip, the seeds of the Nazis are pretty deeply embedded in their ideology. And so one of the plans they're actually conducting is to create a bottleneck event. And that's to promote race mixing within the general society and all that, and keep people distracted with the trans stuff and all the nonsense we see with politicians, and politicians saying things that are absolutely ridiculous and bullshit. Not Trump. Trump is legitimately Trump. I love that man a lot. But everyone in the media are all pretty much CIA agents. Same with everyone in Congress. And I went and volunteered for my local political organization, and I saw it's very easy for them to do that. First of all, everyone in this town is like that, but it's very easy to do that. Like, there's not many people even running in the first place, and so even if everyone in Congress isn't an agent, definitely all the effective positions are, at least effective enough for them to be able to do everything that they need to do. Let me check my time again here. Definitely for them to be able to do everything they need to do. And, maybe just because of where I'm living right now, but it also seems like, in the places I've lived, but it also seems that, like, local churches, your local, school president, or just any leadership, like I said, that might just be the places I'm living. And that actually probably could be the case, now that I'm thinking about it. But that's very likely. Because, you want to have control, and you have this big nation everywhere, and that's actually why you let in all these immigrants from across the border, so you can have more informants ready to go. And the ones they're sending back right now are the ones that are not being good enough, so they have to go through and cull and sort of the ones that will work and ones that won't. But, yeah. I guess the point is that the CIA is divided about this. They're not one unified evil organization, and the CIA plays a necessary role as far as in warfare, but we're doing warfare against our own people, and planning right now, deep dark in the future, just at least in the subconscious back of their minds, it's a eugenic event. That's why that there are planning. First of all, that's why they put abortion clinics in places that they put them. My family, that's why they put them there. And they're also they're planning to develop a bioweapon that can target people based on genes. And COVID was a bit of a test for that. I mean, it also worked perfectly because they needed to get Trump out and Biden elected, because they need to have the border open for a little bit to let people on it. And Trump was already had an ear to this. I don't know why, because he listens to the people, and they sensed that something was going to be happening at the border. He was right. All of a sudden, they first of all, I mean, we can get into how they, we'll save it for the Russia investigation stuff for another time. That all has to do with the CIA, and the CIA not liking religion at all. We can see more of my Tucker Carlson video about that, and them rejecting the model of the Russians. The Russians basically have the same model that we have in the United States, only that it's open. They know Putin is a dictator. They know he's a Christian, and they just elect him overwhelmingly here because politicians want to have absolute power and overstay their welcome past the waters and depth of democracy. They want to be able to control the narrative and run things from behind the scenes. So the Christianity shapes the way you see the world, and with that framework, you can decide if your leader is a good one or not. But what they're doing here, basically, is they're changing the narrative to be some sort of weird one where the government has discovered, I mean, it's more than that. I mean, there's also COVID, it's also individual ones, but the ones that's happening on the horizon right now to counteract religion is that there are interdimensional aliens that's responsible for all spiritual sightings across the world, across cultures, and that they are in the U.S. government in particular, and we know that because we're on top and we have the most technology. We are reverse engineering that technology. Some of these aliens are mimicking and faking being people in Congress, and that you should listen to whatever the government says because at the end of the day, they're interdimensional aliens. They're going to make you go insane. And by the way, man, there's so much to talk here. I should explain as a defense what they'll do to make you go crazy, because no doubt some of my brothers and sisters out here will be targeted, but you'll be fine. And frankly, you'll become stronger for it. I have lived and died, my friends, and I am still right here talking to you, and I don't regret an inch of it. Okay? But there's a couple videos. One is the VHS movies and a channel called Wendigoon. They'll have an agent show you these things, and the psychological mindfucks that they do to try and get you to end yourself or just try and get you to go insane and totally move out will be based off of things from this show. It's things like AI in the future that is guiding you towards a certain direction. It's stuff like something you go in the back rooms and there's all these, like a side pocket dimension that's a constant loop. They will try and mindfuck you by doing this. This is what they discovered in places like The Men Who Stare at Goats and from the MKUltra stuff. Absolute insane mind-bending shit. And you shouldn't watch this. You shouldn't watch these. But if you have watched them, I'm telling you, that's what it's based around. And knowing that will help a tremendous lot. And there are also other secret things that you can do that I'm going to let you to discover what they are. Maybe based off the things that I've said that you should take seriously before doing them. But, no, obviously not hurting anyone. I'm not saying that. Whatever. You get what I'm saying. 1 second. Hopefully. You guys are smart adults. I believe in you. I trust in you. Yeah. Well, anyways, the seat of the Nazis is deeply in the CIA. But there's also great people in there. They're planning a eugenic event. Basically, they want to promote race mixing and then have all the Nazis who are in charge, once they replace us all with robots or whatever, they can wipe us out and then have a fresh world by itself, and it'll be blamed on whatever. And they also been thinking about this with the vaccine stuff. So they were saying if they could get the world to take a vaccine, and they've been practicing vaccines that make specifically Africans infertile for a long time. That's why people are mad at Bill Gates, by the way, is because they have Bill Gates blackmailed like they have a lot of people, pretty much everyone, you know what I mean? And they try to get me in blackmail situations. I mostly avoided them. That's what, pretty much all the stuff that I mentioned in that video of the worst things I've ever done, pretty much all of them were, I know it's kind of like I blame my problems on someone else. No, those were mine, because if I was strong enough, I would have been able to avoid them. But pretty much all of them, because as you guys know, all you guys are fucking agents. Everyone I come into contact with is pretty much an agent. We're honeypot situations, trying to get me to feel guilty, make it feel like I couldn't be famous, and so they could control me. Yeah. And by the way, if you're out of the secret, if you're out of these states and don't live in these locations that I'm talking about, yeah, you guys don't live in Kansas. There is a major conspiracy, and it is designed to control. It's all about design to control. And it's going to fail because, imagine if you're a human, you're eating things that are killing and making your body go insane and having seizures. Even if you're the mind running things, it's no, you need to find agreement between your body and your mind, between your goal and the actual material, physical world of things. You can't just be telling people that men and women don't exist, because that's literally ground level reality. And now they're realizing that, and they're kind of flipping around and saying, okay, we fucked up. So, yeah, I mean, it's wrong. We actually need Christianity, and it's all based in a lack of faith in life after death. And I don't know how to convince you guys that such a thing exists, but I can tell you right now, as the most powerful psychic you've probably talked to, who's been spending a lot of time trying to fully embody my body so I can be in touch with all that, I can tell you straightforwardly, there's nothing to worry about death. It is a form of sleep, and it is the most beautiful thing. And further, if you face death fully, you'll realize that everything you ever wanted in the world is right here. The kingdom of heaven is right here. Christ told us the truth. You can have the most full experience once you incorporate that. And I don't know how to fully explain that right now. Maybe you can just believe it for me in my eyes and just try and see that, hey, maybe the world actually was built good. Maybe it was built right and true. And if you fully live it, you'll experience that, and you'll experience the most beautiful good. Maybe that's true. You should try it and see if that's correct. I think you should. So, with that being said, step into the light, my brothers and sisters. There are people waiting for you. Step into the darkness. It might be scary at first, but I can guarantee you it is so much better on the other side. You know? And you aren't alone, by the way. You aren't alone. That these people have done to you, to my parents and my family, is wrong. And they must be stopped. If you don't want it to happen to other people, and if you can stand to love yourself for who you are, if you can stand to love yourself, then you can stand to love everyone. And you will be safe, and you will be loved, and we will come out together, and we can have the best future that anyone ever thought possible, in the true garden that God intended us to live in. My friends and neighbors, trust me, this is going to happen. It's going to happen with you, with us. So anyways, thank you, my brothers and sisters. I love you so much, and we're going to do this together. This is beautiful. This is our time. This is your story. My friend, this is your story. My brother, my wife, please, let's go. Yes! I might have unplugged this. Okay, that's all. Thank you guys. You have a wonderful evening, and good night. Sleep well, and wake up early. Have a good day. All right. Okay.